Thank you, and welcome back to Logistical Lives by Miranda J. It's been a few weeks, maybe a month or so, since I have had an opportunity to record. I really haven't had that opportunity. I've been talking to a couple of my friends that do a couple online work and recording and doing social media, and I'm always like, how do they have time? Because it seems to me when you're actually doing the work, it's not really that easy to sit and record about the work. And what I'm finding out is through these conversations that they did the work and now they're having the opportunity to record, or they've never done it actually and they just enjoy talking about it. So they have more time to record the podcast and do this on it and commit themselves to it. And it is really nothing wrong with either. If it helps somebody, great. But I am in the trenches sometimes every day. So recording is not always very easy, but I am here now. And I am excited to be here because a lot has happened. I mean, a lot has come across that definitely made me feel like I'm out, like I'm exhausted. And I think I literally said many times, I am tired. Just let me relax. Just let me chill. Let me not exceed expectations, right? Give me that opportunity to fall back. And some part of it, I didn't have a choice. I had to fall back because I literally fell down. And what I mean by that is right now, depending on what you're doing in the transportation industry, anywhere in logistics, you probably have been seeing that the wall, man, we have hit a wall and it hurts. And it was a point where I was like, should I be doing this anymore? Is this something I want to encourage anybody else to get into? Because it is at such a dire state that, anybody new coming in, you got to know that we're at the bottom and we're working our way back up. Are there areas that could still be producing and making money? Yes, but when you figure out all the margins and you break your money down, you're really still at the bottom, especially if you're on the truck driver side. I don't think anybody's winning on that side. Unfortunately, it's just going to be an uphill battle. There are some of us who've been, like I said, I've been in it for almost 13 years. So for me, I've seen the lowness and I've seen the highs and I've seen it come back down. But this right here is a different animal. When you start talking about where the dollar is, where the merchandise is coming from, where everything is at, that's where you start figuring out where you are on that, the totem pole of, the driver's kind of, and the owner's only one tick above them. Everybody else above is making the money, the insurance companies, the brokers, the customers, and so even some customers, I have to be honest, they're hurting too. I've seen a lot of layoffs. And through this, and this is full transparency, last year, 2020, I'll say the end of 2021 going into 2022, we had about 17 drivers and we were rocking and rolling. Coming into 2022, I started seeing the rates. I started seeing a lot taper off. And I said, this is not good. My dispatcher at the time said, Miranda, it's coming. And when it comes, you gotta be ready because it's not gonna look good. Now, my personality type is I don't like negativity. Don't tell me I can't do this, da 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 da. It wasn't about him telling me I can't. It was about him, understanding the numbers. And sometimes in business, it's not about your faith. It's about what it is. And the fact it was not a good time. 2022, by the end of 2022, I had eight or nine drivers. Some I definitely had let go for different reasons. Some had went and bought their own truck. Just have again, all open conversations with my drivers of where we are at owner operators as well. Like they kind of saw the market as well, so they started kind of going in their own way. So this happened, I want to say when we got into November is when I realized it's not good. And we tried so many avenues. We went, we were in driving originally. We went to the oil field. Out of the oil field, try to get everybody to get their TWIC card. My current drivers get their TWIC card to go to the ports. I mean, everyone was hurting. It didn't matter where we went. Everyone was hurting. So that 8 turned to 4, I believe it was. And then the 4 turned to 1. And it wasn't good. It was terrible. It tore me up on the inside. I mean, there was one day that I lost so much money that I got physically sick, like throwing up, like physically sick. I told you it's full transparency. Then I started to, I think it was December. I was like, I need a plan. And I was racking my brain. Sorry, I'm not editing today, so I have to be as accurate as I can because I just need to get this out. It's been a minute. I'll edit next week. I was racking my brain about what to do, and I said, okay, I'm going to rewrite my business plan. That's what I'm going to do. Somewhere I messed up, so I started just rewriting it. Like, maybe somewhere from my original business plan and my original numbers, I messed up. So let me rewrite it. Let me recreate what I believe a successful trucking company should be. How should it look? And I kept going through it, trying to find, that answer within it. And there's still the biggest animal. And the biggest animal is freight. Freight. You need freight. I don't care how you chuck it and drive it. You got to have freight. And freight was down. And I was like, man, okay, I can build this. I can redo this. I can get new drivers. I could do this. And I did. I rebranded. I moved the company. I ended up with, I think we went in January, we had 3 new drivers. So, well, one was one of my older drivers, and then, 2 of my older drivers, and I had one more. And then by the end of January, we had, and sorry, I apologize, because again, I'm not editing. By February, we had 4. So I was like, okay, we're rebuilding. And then some of my previous drivers were like, hey, I want to come back. Let's try to work together. I'll get my TWIC card because I'm working at the ports now. And it was still slow. Freight. So I started getting involved with the community more, finding out what is my county doing, what is going on around me, so I can know where's the freight coming from. I started getting involved with the actual ports and talking to a guy at Miami Port, talking to the guys at Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Tampa, I'm in Florida, Savannah, like really having these conversations. And what I was getting from a lot of the conversations was, they're all like us too, but they had a little bit. So I started to say, okay, whatever I could patch together to keep people working, I'll do it. The money just wasn't the same. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Like when you're talking about making 8 to 10K, sometimes even up 10 to 15K a week for one truck. One. Then 4 trucks are barely making 10K a week. Listen, for some people, they're going to be like, that's good. No. You got to pay for fuel. You got to pay your drivers. You got to pay out, the expense for continuing the maintenance on your vehicles. If you're local, you're paying for parking, right? So there's so many different avenues that cut into that money and don't have payments or loans or anything else because now more people are cutting into your money. I wasn't making any money. I had to tell somebody this the other day, and no one's going to believe this, but it's the truth. I have not made a dime in trucking, I want to say, since October or November of 2022. I've not profited. I have made money, okay, but I have not been able to actually pay myself since October of 2022. That's how bad it was. That's how, and this is not about, girl, you better know where to go. No, it's not that. I'm not the only one. And my goal was to keep things alive. I didn't want to see everything go. And I kept trying to hold on, like hold on, and figure out a plan. And I did find something. I decided to actually let my authority go and lease under another company, which was, at the time was a good decision because it really reduced my overhead. That's why I tell people, like, don't worry about the authority versus lease conversation. That's a really dumb conversation. It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't, because when you really lay it out, it's all about what that lease company will allow you to do. You're still your own business regardless. You can brand yourself. You can do everything the same. It really, the biggest difference is when it comes to you targeting customers. But the company that I actually was able to work with allows me to also target customers and bring them along and work with that. So it didn't affect me. So don't allow that to be a thing. Now, of course, some companies won't let you do that. Then, of course, if you want to get your own authority, you've got a good customer base. That's what I would say more than anything. Don't jump out if you don't know how to get customers on your own. If you're very reliant on brokers, that's a hard thing to do right now. Everyone's eating and digging at your money. You really have to have your own solid customers if you're going to come out and get an authority. And even on top of that, you really want to have 3 or more trucks. I've seen that more than ever now, that most of the time these customers are saying if you don't have 3 or more, you can't even, they're not even touching you. Some 5 or more. One company told us recently to even take a carrier, it had to have 10 trucks. So the thing is, I had tons of trucks. I had the ability to get drivers, but there wasn't enough freight to move them. I call this video The Art of Starting Over. And the reason why I call it that, because sometimes when you're trying to save something or survive, you're working it so hard that you can't see it. You can't see that it's failing. You can't see that it's winning. You can't see what's good, what's bad. You're just trying to save. And I was in pure survival mode. Pure survival mode. That's it. That's all I could think about was surviving. Miranda, you know that you're better than this. You're better than this. You could do this. And when it didn't work out, like every plan I tried to move forward didn't work out. I hit a wall and I got really hard. I was terrible on myself. Terrible. Oh my God, you messed up. Your kids are looking at you. Why, what have you done to your family? Like, you're not winning. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. They're going to be so disappointed. Your kids are disappointing. My I ams weren't there. Everything was defeat. I talked so negatively. And I was really at a dark place. I mean, I don't even want to say dark, because it was no one else that was shedding the darkness. It was just me. My drivers were actually in really good spirits, and they were like, Miranda, we got this. We'll figure it out. My daughters, they all, my parents, everybody was like, we got you. It was me. I didn't want to be got. I wanted to be able to do it. And I didn't want to hear that I needed help. I didn't want to go to my mom and say, Mama, if I don't do something soon, like, this is done. And now I am at a place where I'm able, I know this sounds, some people won't get it, but losing everything gains everything. Going through a point of where there's nothing to cling on to, you almost have to chill, sit down. You have no choice. You got nothing to do. There's no work. There's some days I was like, I have nothing to do. I got my behind in the truck, obviously. And if I needed to, I'd work or do what I could just to make sure things were solid for my home. But yeah, I had to be quiet. I started thinking, I like that word start right now because this is the art of starting over. I started thinking of, why does it have to be trucks? Why do I have to own trucks? Does it have to be visual? Where else in this industry is there a need? Where else am I, qualified? What else can I do? And I'll tell you something that was so funny. During that process of me thinking, of course, I like solutions. So I would think about something, I'll find the problem, and I'll be like, need a solution. So the problem was I had no money, so I needed solutions. I was going to go try to get my old job back, and I had been a corporate travel agent for more than 20 years, and it's always like okay, until things get better, I'll work this, and I'll see how it works out. So just went and did my application, updated my resume, and I hadn't did a resume in a long time. I was struggling on that resume, but I uploaded it, got to the point where I was doing the assessment test, like, your personality test, like what would you do in this situation and that situation, like, if you're at your job and there's a loaf of bread that's already open, would you go ahead and take the loaf of bread home to your family if you were hungry and in need? Like, just stupid questions, right? Or just like, how do you think? Are you a person that needs to kind of be the center of attention, or whatever? Just all these personality questions. And so I took this test, and they're supposed to let me know within like 24 hours if I pass. Mind you, I'd been with this company for 20 years prior. So like during the whole time of me being in business, I always had my side job because they allowed me to work from home, and I was good at it, and it was not hard for me to do, and I had to make my own hours, so it didn't matter. 20 years, okay? And I go take the assessment test, and then I get the email, and I'm like, I got this in the bag. I'm just gonna start working, and then I'll work on my trucking stuff, and I'll just make sure I just have some stability, right? I need stability in my life right now. And yeah, I got the email that says, unfortunately, we do appreciate your time, but you do not meet the requirements based on the assessment test. Huh? Huh? I started to call somebody. I really was like, listen, and I know everybody there, so I could have made phone calls. I really could have made phone calls and been like, if y'all don't get me in this job and stop playing, and I was just like, nobody wants me. I can't win anywhere. Like, I was like that. I was so sad. I was so mad. I think it was my husband and my daughter walked in the room when I got the news, and they were about to leave that morning, and they were like, what's wrong? I was like, I didn't get the job. And they go, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't understand. Everything's just going wrong. And my voice is probably worse than that. I'm trying to reenact myself, but it's not working out. But anyway, so they left, and I was mad. And I don't know if it was the same day or the next day, I was on the phone with a friend, and I was telling her about me taking the personality test and me failing it. And I was like, I can't believe it. I can't even get that right. She goes, well, why would you think you would pass that test? I was like, what do you mean? Of course I'm going to pass that test. Like, I've done their job before. She goes, it's a personality test, right? Yeah. She was like, and you took it the last time when? I was like, maybe 20 years ago. She's like, of course you passed it 20 years ago. You were a worker bee. You don't have that mindset anymore. So those questions that you're answering now, you're answering it like an owner. They don't want owners. They want workers. You're going to go into this. I'm telling you what she said to me. And it took me a minute to hear it, okay? She said, you're going to go on those people's job and try to run their company. They don't want you in there. Every question that you answered when it had to do with those personality things, you answered it like a boss. You didn't answer it like a worker. So now you are no longer qualified. You are overqualified. Whew. Just take a second, moment of silence on that, right? Because I was mad. And I stop and I go, you're right. I did answer a lot of those questions like that. I didn't even think about it. I was just trying to, get it done and hey, I got you. Y'all need me. Let's go. And I'm not supposed to go back to that job. It's just been too long. My favorite quote is, I didn't come this far to only come this far. And I tried to go back. The art of starting over is sometimes, well, majority of the time, reevaluating self, seeing where you are. It has nothing to do with the business. It really doesn't. It has nothing. The market can do what it does. We'll find a way. But I had to redevelop some things. I had to dig deep and find out what was really making me happy. And also go back to that brain and that solution-based person that I am and start thinking like, why does it only have to be in this thing? And I started to develop and I started to create. And I'm really excited about some things that I have coming out because of what I did during the times that it was terrible. And since then, of course, we have drivers back working. We have 6 total drivers, and they're running the course. They're doing well. The market is slowly starting to come back up. It's not great. I'm actually probably not going to be in trucking, owning trucks for much longer because I feel like there's a need for me elsewhere. I am looking to actually sell my business off and actually give it to somebody who has that time, because I think that my involvement in the logistics industry is in another facet of this industry that will be way more useful than where I am right now. And I've ran the course, and I did a good ass job. And that was one of the things that for me starting over, I definitely kept telling myself that I failed. You failed. I said that so many times. Like, how could you fail at this? And so many people said, you did not fail. That business lasted 12 years. Okay. Stop telling people that you failed. You're at a down market and you got to let that go. And it was hard. I'm going to be honest. It was hard. So starting over for me now is not because this failed. It is because I'm evolving. I'm growing and I'm developing. And with that development in this industry, I can't stay and do the same thing for the next 10, 15 years. I have already shown that I can go buy a truck, own a truck, run a truck, move a truck, hire drivers, keep things up to par, make sure payrolls hit, the balance budget. I've already shown that can happen. It's not about that anymore. It's about what else can I do with this information? And it's time to start over and create and be creative and not just settle for right here. We could talk about this forever, but the truth is, where's the end game? And there's certain things that I'm 42. I'm ready to start, chilling a little bit. I love the fact that I learned how to drive that big truck. I love the fact, now, I ain't gonna lie, my backing skills still terrible, but I love the fact that I can do it. I love that I did, the stuff that I did. I love the people that I met, the drivers that I love, everything. And when I say I'm not out in the sense of no longer in this industry, of course, but I definitely know I probably will keep one truck, but right now I'm selling a lot of stuff. I am so focused on this new project and I'm very excited about it. And I know that it will help people, like what happened to me, not happen to others. I know the areas in this industry in and out. In and out. And I know that someone like myself is going to help all of us win. And that's where I need to be. So the art of starting over is here. It's all in the mind. You really have to redevelop, refocus, and not be afraid. I definitely was. There was a lot of times where I was scared. Yeah, I got bills to pay. People coming at me. And you know what? For the first time, Mama don't get mad because I'm about to curse. I said, fuck them bills. I'm not going to lie. I said, fuck them. I don't care right now. Because as much as y'all want y'all money, I'm paying y'all. I'm getting it all taken care of. But at some point, I have to stop and think and recreate. I can't get stuck in this thing. If I don't recreate, I'll never get out. I'll be in this cycle. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is a business. They know what it is. It is what it is. Look, they let Donald Trump hit hello a couple times. Leave me alone. Like, sometimes you're going to have to just get there. And this is a real talk to business owners. This is a real talk. If you are not an owner, you probably will never understand this conversation. But fuck them bills. Sometimes you got to get there so that you can get what you have to take care of, taken care of, and then go back to stuff. Don't let them people stress you out. Make some phone calls, make arrangements, do what you got to do, and then get back into your life. There's so many avenues. There's so many opportunities to help you when you're on your going downward. Do not sit there and with that woe is me attitude all the time, all day, because I did it. You got to start strategizing. And you got to start telling people, look, I ain't got it right now. You're going to have to wait. You're just going to have to wait, or figure out what's best for your business. Get out and start over. It's okay. It's okay. If it's tied to your personal credit, I'm sorry. Fuck them. Sorry, Mom. You just have to, you will bounce back. And I say this because I myself, back in 2005, filed for bankruptcy. In 2005, I filed for bankruptcy and foreclosed on my home. And I thought then it was over, because I think back then they used to say 7 to 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And I had a construction company. And unfortunately, my person at the time did not manage things properly. So I left that person, my divorce. So we ended up having to file for bankruptcy and file for foreclosure. 2005. I was I did a Chapter 11, I think it was, so I was able to pay the bankruptcy. And then at some point we got it paid off. And then in 2011, I bought my third home, because I was in my second house by that time, but I bought my third home. And no problem. I am now purchased my fourth property. I started a new business. I was very proud. Like I said, fuck that shit. Don't worry. Again, I'm so sorry for cursing. I'm going to stop cursing. But I want you to hear from the bottom of my heart, okay? And don't let anybody make you feel like because you got to start over or because you hit rock that, you're worthless, or don't. And trust me, some people wanted you to fail anyway. Trust me, some people wanted me to fail anyway. So, okay, but I didn't fail. That's the caveat. Like, I didn't. I actually did a good ass job. And not only did I do a great job, I created something major. And through all of that, I'm still here. I'm still here. Failure is when you quit and don't get back up. I mean, I'm not going to stand it right now because that'd be a little dramatic on the podcast, but, basically you get my point. I'm still here. We are still here. And we're still going. And some of the greatest people that we know in their 30s, 40s, and 50s created things that lasted legacies. And that's what we're building. And that's what my kids got to see me do. They got to see me build. So they're never going to be afraid to build because they saw their mom do it. They saw me hit bottom. They saw it a couple times. And they see me getting right back up, building. The art of starting over is about being able to build and not worry about what people think about you. You got to get over it. Speak your truth. Tell them, yeah, I'm here. Yes, this is happening, but I'm okay. Or maybe that day you're not okay, but you will be okay. Make sure that you're able to be silenced and not take those walks. Go to the gym, get a breakaway so that you can redesign and rethink. Because once you start redesigning, oh my God, the way things pour out of you. And let me tell you the beauty, and I'm not telling all everything right now because I'm so excited about it. But I've found a way of doing things now at such a low cost. It's going to be fantastic. Okay. The way that you can keep them people out your money and keep people away. I mean, we're about to blow up. But we need this. I needed to not continue in one thing so that I can continue in the right thing. And from that, we will build, we will grow, and we will succeed. And that's what I got. So be okay with starting over. It's all right. We're going to do it together. Thank you so much for joining and listening. This is Miranda J. with Logistical Lines. Have a great one.